Hi Gary, this is a response to your video to me about those videos I've been posting lately. This is just about the first one, a video I did about the origin of consciousness in the pornographic imagination, that hour-long video. Thanks for having the patience to sit through that. I didn't watch the second half of your video yet because I had to bring the dogs out. But yeah, I've made some notes on what you did. It's really useful actually, thanks. First thing you say, we've been unnatural for a long time. Yeah, I think that's really salient actually, I think. Because what I think I might be identifying, or talking about, not identifying, I wouldn't be so grandiose as to claim that, but what I think I might talk about there is that this unnaturalness that we have, you know, both in terms of our biological relations to one another, the fact we don't have breeding seasons, you know, and all other kind of cultural things as opposed to natural things, I suppose, it's going to come from somewhere, hasn't it? And I think I'm suggesting that maybe it comes from our developed ability to imagine. And particularly imagine ourselves as people, imagine other people, and you know, perhaps that initiating from imagining particular sexual scenarios. But yeah, the unnatural is really important, I think. Our functionality is very different, you say. Can't remember what that was about. I think it's probably something to do with the same thing in terms of how I'm reading that. Yeah, our functionality is different, and our functions have followed the unnaturalness of our ability to think in weird ways. You know, we can imagine futures and pasts and creatures from another planet and zombies and all kinds of shit that I'm pretty sure my dogs can't get a grip on. And that ability to imagine the impossible as well as the slightly different is part of our functionality, isn't it? Okay, other animals are in the natural world. That's exactly the same thing again, and which I really like. Other organisms, my dogs perhaps, although I'm not sure about dogs thinking about it, but certainly a lot of animals are in the natural world as opposed to the world of imagination. Yeah, I think. You know, I just made a little video about sentience. My dogs are sentient, but they don't have the imaginative potential of the consentient. They don't have a second chamber where they can ruminate on their actions. They just go with the flow, you know. They're in a state of nature, I think. I don't want to over-romanticize that, but that's what it seems like. They're in the natural world, and we've just got one foot in the natural world. Our other foot is in the world of the imaginary, I think. You know, whether that be ideal moral futures we might want to create for ourselves, or made-up pasts, whatever it is, you know. Okay, point 4. Oh yeah, alpha males. Yeah, you talked about silverbacks. Which I think are gorillas, aren't they? Something like that. And how you know, why it's about masturbation in apes, and it would make sense for you know, the lower caste, if you like, apes to wank a lot because they're not getting any, while of course the alpha males do. And the weird thing there is, and I was surprised when I came across this, is that alpha males, not just amongst the apes but amongst humans as well, masturbate a lot more than betas and deltas and omicrons, all the way down to get whatever the other end of it is. Yeah, it isn't weirdly, and you would think it would be the losers that wank, but they don't. It's the it's Alan Sugar. He's always cracking one off, and it's the presidents and emperors and people who are very, very successful who wank far more, and people who are more successful in terms of their reproductive access to females. If I can make that in a really clinical way, apparently, you know, masturbate more. Yeah, I mean the evolutionary bit of that, which is, I guess, it's just a bit of a just so story, is, you know, you're cleaning your tubes out, so your sperm is more viable, and so the female is more likely to get pregnant. That's the idea of that. You know, if you wank more, then you're more likely to give more progeny, given the same amount given the same number of opportunities to have intercourse. The guy who wanks more will fertilise more women because he has more fertile sperm. So that's the evolutionary logic. But yeah, you would think it would be, I mean, the stereotype is it is always the loser geek jacking off in his room, isn't it? But apparently that's not really borne out by the statistics. Then again, people lie, don't they? So who knows? Humans in the natural environment, do they whack off? Oh yeah, this is good. I'm going to have to mention this actually, because I can't let that pass, because all the studies I've read, you know, the ones I cited, are to do with, you know, Western societies. You know, we talk to all the psychological studies and all the sexology studies are all about asking questions of college students or people in jobs in the West. There may well be anthropological studies of people in hunter-gatherer communities, particularly communities where there's lots of stress. Sorry, that was a weird experience. I'm in this little dip here, and two massive bulls just came over the hill. They're about 50 yards and just standing on the top of the hill there. They just kind of loomed into view. Wow, that was weird. Anyway, yeah, whether humans in a natural environment, do they whack off or not, I don't know. I probably don't have time to do the research on that. So I'll probably just have to build that in as a kind of a qualifier. You know, I'll just put, when I do the presentation, if I get opportunity to, I'll just mention it in passing that that's a possibility. Oh yeah, this next point, this is something I'm really going to have to address. Consciousness, is that a good word? No, I've used it in about 3 different times, I realised, in the various videos I made on this topic. I'm all over the place with it. Awareness, intelligence, yeah. I don't know which is best. They're all weird, aren't they? I mean, I'm playing with this word that I made up, consentience. But I don't know if that's any better, you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, there are technical terms I could draw on, but they all have very specific, quite narrowly defined usage. And, yeah, I mean, I might find one that perfectly suits my purpose, but otherwise I'll just... Yeah, I'll probably just draw attention to, as you have done indeed, to the difficulty that language presents in talking about these states. So I might just use consentience, make shit up, really. Oh, this is fucking great, actually. Do primates have sex dreams and nocturnal emissions? Brilliant. I mean, that's a high... I don't know how you'd find... Well, actually, I guess you could find out about nocturnal emissions. But, because in a sense, that would be the hypothesis tester, wouldn't it? If, according to this paper I've been reading and some of the research I've been looking at, if humans are kind of uniquely capable of generating virtual multimedia displays of such vividness that we can be turned on by them, and that's a unique human property because of an enhanced imagination, that would mean primates can't do that, or can do it onto a limited extent, which means presumably that their dreams are less vivid. I don't know, particularly their sex dreams. I mean, my dogs dream, but you know, they do this twitchy thing. But I don't know. I don't know how you'd find that out. But I guess there probably is data on whether primates have nocturnal emissions. I'll try and find out. Helen Keller. Yeah, you're talking about vocabulary there, and I think we're on the same page with that, really, because you're saying that, you know, what you need is a vocabulary, and then just some kind of little trick of the light in terms of your brain that switches the whole thing on, really, so that you're capable of doing these things. I think that's pretty much what I'm saying. I'm framing it in terms of that particular capacity that the brain has is something that I've just described in terms of an imagination, or in terms of a bicameral state, a second chamber where we review what's going on, whatever that may be, you know, something like that. You know, just the vocabulary isn't enough. You can teach parrots 100 words, but they don't have any more information and any more capacity for thought and communication. And if you just got one word, it doesn't increase, because they don't have a facility to do things with that. And I think we clearly do, because obviously once Helen Keller kind of got the message, she was off to the races, wasn't she? Yeah, that'll do. Oh yeah, this last point, which I thought was good as well, actually, which is intelligence, or conceptual consciousness, that's the phrase you used, taking the place of sensory vividness. This idea that you had that, you know, in the limited conceptual and cognitive capacities we have, you know, perhaps our ability to imagine, or just that capacity to run subjunctive futures, to imagine possible worlds, to imagine possible sexual partners, to imagine possible pasts, to write stories, or whatever it may be, you know, perhaps some of that cognitive capacity has been at the expense of sensory engagement. You know, dogs and other animals, I'm guessing, have got more, are more singularly invested in the world that they actually live in. You know, they might only have the one chamber, so to speak. There is just the sentience, just the conscious, not the, sorry, confusing. There is just this sentient engagement with the world, but it probably, I would guess, of a very rich and primary order. You know, with ours perhaps isn't. I mean, I think that's what you're suggesting, because we've sacrificed some of that primary engagement, that primary sentience, for the consentient possibilities of being able to reflect and conceptualize, create abstractions, create language, talk about it, and engage in kind of mental masturbation instead. Anyway, thanks for that, Gary. I'll think about what you've said and try and put together some kind of abstract. And I'll look at the second half of your video when I get home. Cheers.